A normal day in the city turned into something extraordinary when thousands of people looked up and saw what seemed to be the face of Jesus appearing on a skyscraper. Some called it a miracle, others tried to find logical explanations, but no one could deny the overwhelming impact of the event. As the news spread, people from all walks of life gathered, staring in awe, questioning what it meant. It started as an ordinary evening, with the sun beginning to set and casting its final golden rays over the skyline. The city's towering glass buildings reflected the light in their usual way, but then, something changed. A soft glow formed on the side of one of the tallest skyscrapers, and as the colors shifted, a shape emerged. At first, it seemed like just another reflection, but then bystanders noticed something unmistakable, the outline of a face. The news traveled quickly. People stopped in the streets, traffic slowed, and within minutes, a crowd had gathered below the building. Smartphones were raised, capturing images and videos, and social media exploded with posts about the phenomenon. People compared what they were seeing to classical depictions of Jesus, pointing out the familiar features, the serene expression, the eyes full of wisdom, and the unmistakable beard. For many, it was too clear to be a coincidence. Among the crowd, some people immediately dropped to their knees in prayer. Others wept, feeling an overwhelming sense of peace and spiritual connection. Skeptics observed quietly, looking for signs that it was just an illusion, but even they couldn't deny the intensity of the moment. The reaction of the crowd was a mix of astonishment, disbelief, and deep spiritual reflection. For many believers, this was the confirmation they had been waiting for, a sign that God was still present, watching over them. Some openly declared it a miracle, calling their loved ones and urging them to come witness it for themselves. A woman named Teresa, who had been struggling with her faith after losing her husband, found herself overwhelmed with emotion. "I had been asking for a sign," she whispered to those around her. "And here it is. I know He's watching over me." Tears streamed down her face as she stood with others who shared her sense of awe. A young man who had never considered himself religious found himself unable to look away. He had come downtown for a casual evening with friends, but now, he was frozen in place, staring up at the image. "I don't know what to think," he admitted. "But I feel something powerful." As word of the event spread beyond the city, experts were called in to investigate. Scientists and meteorologists examined the conditions that could have created such an image. Some suggested it was a trick of light, a rare reflection caused by the angle of the sun and the glass surface of the building. Others speculated that environmental factors, such as moisture in the air or pollutants, could have played a role in creating the illusion. Despite these explanations, the emotional weight of the moment was undeniable. The fact that thousands of people witnessed it at the same time, and that it lasted for more than an hour, made it difficult to dismiss. Even some skeptics admitted that, regardless of whether it was a miracle or a natural phenomenon, its impact was real. The debate only fueled more curiosity. Some felt that science and faith didn't have to be at odds, that perhaps, the divine worked through nature itself. Others held firm in their belief that this was a direct message from God. Religious leaders were quick to respond to the event, offering their own interpretations. Some saw it as a call to repentance, a reminder that faith should not be forgotten in a world increasingly focused on materialism. Others viewed it as a sign of hope, a divine reassurance that God had not abandoned His people. Churches in the city reported a sudden increase in attendance, with people eager to discuss what they had witnessed. Sermons were dedicated to the event, with pastors and priests reminding their congregations that signs and wonders had always been a part of faith. Throughout history, God has spoken to people in many ways, one preacher said. Why should we think He has stopped now? For many believers, the image on the skyscraper was more than just a reflection, it was a message. A message that they were not alone, that faith still mattered, and that there was still time to turn toward God. News outlets around the world quickly picked up the story. Television crews arrived at the scene, broadcasting live footage to millions of viewers. Social media continued to be flooded with videos and photos, with people debating, analyzing, and sharing their thoughts. Some journalists interviewed witnesses, asking how they felt in the moment. Others reached out to experts for their take on the phenomenon. Debate sparked on talk shows and online forums, with people passionately arguing both for and against the idea that this was a true miracle. As with any viral event, there were those who dismissed it as a hoax, claiming that someone had digitally altered the images or that the entire thing had been staged. With thousands of independent videos coming from different sources, it became impossible to deny that something had indeed happened. Even after the image faded, the impact of the event remained. People who had gathered at the scene continued to talk about it for weeks. A local church set up a prayer area near the skyscraper, where people could reflect on what they had seen and what it meant to them. Businesses around the area reported an increase in visitors, with tourists coming just to stand in the place where the image had appeared. Some even claimed they could still feel a presence there, a lingering energy that brought them peace. The city itself became known for the event, with some referring to it as the miracle on glass. Whether or not it was truly divine, it had undeniably left its mark. For many who had been struggling with faith, this event became a turning point. Some who had once felt distant from God found themselves praying again. Others, who had never considered themselves religious, started to question whether there was something greater beyond what they could see. Testimonies poured in from people who had experienced personal transformations after witnessing the event. Some reported healing from emotional burdens, while others described feeling a newfound sense of purpose. Even those who hadn't been there in person felt the ripple effect. Friends and family shared their experiences, and soon, conversations about faith and miracles were happening in places where they hadn't before. Despite the strong emotional reactions, the debate over the event's authenticity continued. Scientists stood by their explanations, while believers held on to their conviction that this was a divine sign. Some people argued that even if it was a natural occurrence, it didn't diminish its significance. After all, if something as simple as sunlight and reflections could create an image that brought thousands together in faith, wasn't that a miracle in itself? The conversation remained open-ended, with people drawing their own conclusions based on their beliefs and personal experiences. Regardless of whether one believed the event was a miracle or a coincidence, it served as a reminder of the power of faith and the importance of being open to the unknown. It showed that, even in a modern world filled with distractions and doubt, moments of wonder could still capture the hearts and minds of thousands. People left the scene that day changed. Some carried with them a renewed sense of belief, while others were left questioning what they had witnessed. But one thing was certain, none of them would forget that evening, when the face of Jesus appeared on a skyscraper, and for a brief moment, the world seemed to stop. Miracles, whether divine or natural, have the power to bring people together and inspire deeper thought. What do you believe? Was this a sign from God, or simply an incredible coincidence? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more incredible stories of faith and mystery.